I have decided I'm going to react to the morning news, so I have to listen to it too, and I have to get up and down. But yeah, I'm reacting to the morning news. The thing with this is that guy, Chauvin, could easily get off, which would be bad because it'll cause a lot of havoc. I'm sure, I believe he's responsible for the man's death, but you know how laws work and how you have to prove things and all that. The problem is the whole system needs to be redone. The whole system is so for anybody to pin everything on this trial and make it about the verdict. If the verdict comes today, it'll be interesting to see what happens, but the whole system needs to be redone. Our whole, not just the justice system, our whole system needs to be redone. I sound like morning. I swear the commercial came on right in the middle of what this guy was saying, and he wasn't done. Yeah, okay, that was a flub. The commercial came on in the middle of this man talking. Okay, we don't know what he said because the commercial came up on it. 10 a.m. closing arguments. I don't think I was going to stay for that. Maybe, I don't know. I was going to go out early. That's the shooter in the FedEx thing? He looks like a little boy. Okay, so the FedEx is Indianapolis. It seemed like there were 15 shootings this weekend. I can't keep track anymore. Honestly, I'm not proud to say it, but it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. And I know people say, well, what if it happened to you? I'm sure. But, you just hear the same stuff over and over again. It sounds like background noise. He's 19. Oh my god, he killed himself too. Okay, so this is about the protests about the Dante Wright killing. Adam Toledo. I don't even know that name. See what I mean? The stories are the same. I don't have the brain enough anymore. They blend in. Yeah, that lady killed that kid on purpose. You don't accident. I mean, doesn't a taser look like plastic? But the protest, and like I said, all the protests are going to do is get people killed. I know that Maxine Waters was out there telling them to go in the streets. She needs to do something. These people have needed to do something for years and years and years to help people out so that their neighborhoods and where they live wouldn't be like this. And they didn't do anything. They want people to get in the street. Well, the society is wrong. Our country is wrong. And anybody in office, especially those who've been in office for very many years, they're responsible for what's wrong with this country. And if you just, again, going after the symptoms, like taking cough medicine instead of curing the disease or putting a band-aid on it. I mean, they're not even putting a band-aid on it. They don't know what the hell they're doing. This is why I had hoped that the pandemic was going to change the system. That's why I had hoped. Not riots during the pandemic itself. You know, that was a crisis, and a crisis is an opportunity, and the powers that be and the people with money just doubled down on everything being horrible. And for some reason, people stood down. I don't know. Cases of the virus continue to rise, and half the people or have been vaccinated. Is that what they said? Because that doesn't make any sense. If it's still at some point, it should be going down. It should be going down. Cases should not be rising if people are getting vaccinated and it's working. So what's the wrong number here? It doesn't make sense. What's the deal with Michigan? Why is it so bad up there? I mean, I live in a state that had it bad too. What's the deal with Michigan though? I never understood that. They always say it's so bad in Michigan. Why is it so bad? I don't understand. Capacity. That's what they had time to do all year, was make more capacity. They should have just made the hospitals bigger or made additional hospitals, for permanent additional hospital facilities, meaning beds, not new offices for doctors, which is always popping up, but they should have made additional just places to have beds, hospital beds, secondary places for infectious disease people or something. They could have done that all over this country last year. They didn't. Then, in fact, when things went good for a minute, they closed their temporary places. But the temporary places should have been there for the emergency, and then they should have made additional hospital space. Plain and simple. Just for people who need it. Because I'll tell you the truth, years ago, before all this happened, there was problems with hospitals not having enough room for people. My lip's cracking right here. It's bothering me. But these are the lockdown, the pandemic, everything showed problems that have been here all along that needed to be fixed. And instead of them fixing it, they just want everybody to go back to normal all of a sudden. I can't stress how stupid those in power are. I really can't. Okay, on the shooting stuff. My local news this morning when I woke up, they were talking about a little girl in Chicago who got shot. Like she was 7. And I'm saying to myself, why is my local news showing that? And I'm not saying that anybody should ignore people getting shot or anything like that. It's just that, when they're trying to push the idea of guns this and guns that, we have to have gun control. And then they start reporting on every single thing. And I'm just saying, this country's been the way it is for a long time. And when I was growing up, kids were getting killed in drive-by shootings. Okay? I don't know if people forget. I don't know if people don't understand how violent this country has been for a long, long time. They want to blame assault rifles and they want to blame this and that. But the thing is, if people had happy lives, if everybody had what they needed to survive, and they could be happy and they could enjoy their life, if people had more money than they needed, right, enough to have all their bills paid, and enough to enjoy life after that, and feel like they could put away for a rainy day, really, if people had that, if everybody had that, could easily have that, we wouldn't have the problems we have in this world, in our society. The problems that haven't been dealt with for many decades now, it's not inequality of opportunity in terms of everybody has a chance to become a pop star, basketball player, or stuff like that, but there just aren't enough plain old jobs. And that's been going on for a long time. And they kind of try to make that like a hick white people thing to say. They took our jobs. But when undocumented immigrants come here and they take jobs from people on the bottom, and that's black people too. And you have a situation where for many decades now, the black neighborhoods are so bad and the poor neighborhoods are so bad that it's almost impossible for it not to be crime ridden. And in so many different administrations, nobody has fixed that. We had Bill Clinton, we had Barack Obama, we had a bunch of presidents who were Democrats who were supposed to give a crap about that. They didn't fix it. Sometimes they made it worse. That's the issue, is that people the whole way the job thing is, and maybe I should do, I keep thinking of what I should do a topic of, and then I forget later on. I should go back and watch my old videos and say what I said, right? See what I said, so I can make the videos I said I would. But I know that when my mom was technically old enough to be my grandmom when she had me, so she was from, I think maybe right under the greatest generation. She grew up, she was born in the 30s, and, her and her sisters and stuff like that, their parents made them quit school and go work. So they walked down to the factory, went there, applied, and got the job. There was a job sitting there for people. You know what I mean? You didn't have to write a resume and have all these perfect references and do all these things to be good enough to find employment. Employment started becoming a privilege over time, where you had to be this perfect person who could work all the right hours and have your own transportation and work nights and weekends, and you had to be able to fit into this perfect. And the thing is, for those jobs, there are people who will fit them, and the people who can fit them will have 3 of those jobs. So instead of there being a good job for every person that they can get to if they can't afford an automobile, that they can get if they don't have perfect references, that they can get if there's a gap in their work history, that doesn't exist. And people are just like, if you have a gap in your work history, if you don't have this, if you don't have that, maybe if you went to jail once, people's attitude is that, well, that's your fault. As if people should be penalized for making a mistake with not being able to be employed. And then them same people will tell you, get a job. And they don't understand what's going on for the people who need work on the bottom or not on the bottom, who there just aren't enough jobs for. They will see people come to this country and think that they should have jobs. Nobody should be upset about them having jobs. And it's like, but what about the Americans who don't have jobs? And people constantly ignore that fact. That's why if there was more than enough jobs for everybody, and there were really jobs going unfilled, then yeah, but that's not what happens. People tell themselves that's what happens. And some of those jobs are lousy. Some of those jobs, everybody imagines picking fruit somewhere. Yeah, that would be sucky if you don't like being in the heat and, they don't let you have bathroom breaks. But that's what the labor laws are supposed to cover. Instead of doubling down on labor laws and forcing people to treat their employees with respect and have there be enough jobs that everybody could just have like that, all they do is focus on the undocumented workers and their plight. And it's like, that's not what's causing this problem. I mean, it's part of the problem, but the problem is there aren't enough jobs for Americans. So why our country and our system and the people who vote for the same old system feel okay ignoring that without seeing the drug problem it causes in terms of people selling drugs, the human trafficking issue, I mean, porn, everything that people have to do outside of the system is because they can't make it work in the system. The system doesn't want them. And then these things happen. Everybody sees all these mass shootings, and all they think about is the gun. Or they'll say mental health. What about the situation that drove that person to say, I want to do mass shooting? It's not. There are plenty of people who have mental health issues in this country who don't get a gun and shoot a bunch of people. There are a bunch of people who have guns in this country and don't take them to shoot a bunch of people. The issue is neither guns or mental health. It's that the American dream is a nightmare and has been for many, many years for a lot of people. And for some unknown reason, nobody acknowledges that. President Trump did kind of acknowledge it. That's what MAGA was about. That's what Making America Great Again was about. They tried to make it into all these other things that it never was. It was about making America great again for Americans who've been left behind. But they try to make it into white supremacy crap and all kinds of stuff. It never ever was. That's why people from all kinds of backgrounds voted for him. And that's why people had a little bit of hope that's now lost. Nobody's saying he was a savior and he was gonna fix everything for, well, maybe somebody would say that, but that he was gonna fix everything for everybody. But there was a chance, because he was an outsider, because he wasn't the system, the systems that has kept really everybody down, whether people acknowledge it or not. And when I see the same old problems coming up again and again and again with the mass shootings, and I don't know why we let the media say the same crap over and over again and push the same. Gun control won't do anything. When I was a kid growing up, people were afraid of Tylenol because somebody somewhere had contaminated some Tylenol. I mean, that's how you kill a bunch of people. That's another way to kill a bunch of people. It has nothing to do with guns. If people want to kill a bunch of people, they can do all kinds of stuff. You don't need a gun to act out and go on a rampage. You can go on a rampage in another way. You could be a mass murderer without any kind of gun at all. When one happens with a knife, they act like it didn't happen. I mean, our system, everything I look at is our system. And like I said, last year, 2020, and the whole lockdown was a perfect opportunity, not for a great reset and, you will own nothing and be happy. Not that, just to, if the government didn't do it, for people to finally say we've had enough and tear the system down. And it didn't happen. It almost happened. It looked like it was starting one day, and that's when I turned the camera on. But it hasn't happened. And that's sad. I did not pay attention to the Country Music Awards. I had it on the whole time. I had my earplugs in and was watching YouTube videos. Okay, see, there was a shooting in Austin, but they're saying it was domestic. I swear there were like 3 shootings yesterday. I don't even know. Twitter used to be a valuable source of information. Now it's just Navalny's on the verge of dying from a hunger strike. I mean, eat something? I mean, Navalny lived once. He made it once. He had to keep protesting to get arrested so that he would go to jail and not trust the food and not eat it. I mean, if you pick a fight with Vladimir Putin, you're a little bit suicidal anyway, aren't you? I'm just, they put a drone on Mars. They're going to shoot people on Mars, deliver Amazon products on Mars. What are they doing? What does that mean if the density is 1% of what it is here? What does that make things? To make things fly too fast? I don't even know. I know what density means. I'm not asking what density means. I'm saying, what does it do? I don't know. Explain it to me. There needs to be more explanation in the news. Just saying. They're talking about the royal family next, which, again, I had it on. I had on the funeral, but I really wasn't paying attention. It's, there's too much nonsense going on that has nothing to do with my life or regular people's lives, as far as I'm concerned. For a long, long time, many, many years, when I watch the news, they talk about things that really don't pertain to me. It's all of this stuff that doesn't pertain to me, just like watching an entertainment news program. I mean, when I watch the actual news, meaning the Today Show, local news, or something like that, it pertains to my life just as much as if I watch a show that's updating me on who the Kardashians are dating. I mean, none of that shit has anything to do with me. Neither does the daytime news. And that's why it's just like, if I miss the weather or I'm not paying attention to the weather, then I didn't get anything of use to me out of the news, and it's been that way for many, many years. And I've been complaining about that for a long time. And now with everything going on and us being locked down and us really not being able to know what's going on outside on our own and find out unless you're, in some kind of gossip circle, which then is just gossip and rumor. We needed outside, we needed information, we needed to be updated on things that are important to us, not constant news about the COVID cases and, vaccines and stuff. You can only tell people the same crap so much, when in reality, if that affected them, they would know. We need to know about what's going on, otherwise, I don't know. I think I'm mostly done reacting to the news. It's 7:41, so I'm gonna cut this off now. But yeah, I went off on a little rant there, so it's gonna end up being 20 minutes. I think I'm gonna put this up without correcting the audio, because otherwise, once it's like more than 10 minutes, it takes too long to correct the audio and everything. So